Welcome back to Funky Politics, the funkiest political show you won't ever smell. I mean, well, sometimes you might smell it. I don't know. Well, I don't smell myself. But anyway, so just getting right into this thing. COVID-19 is still the talk of the world. There's no doubt about it. Our fearless leader, Donald J. Trump Jr., and of course, Secretary Mike Pompeo, they've decided that they know for a fact that this virus originated in some laboratory in the Wuhan province. And, well, you know what? Yes, it did originate in Wuhan province. We don't know if it was something that was nefarious or not, but leave it up to Donald Trump and also to Mike Pompeo to get together on this kind of thing and decide that, well, you know what? It was nefarious. They tried to do this. Man, come on. Right now we're dealing with something that's killing a lot of our people. And so let's do some service to our country. Let's get our folks healed. Let's get a vaccine for this stuff so we can come from under this damn. Well, I'm going to always wash my hands, but God, I hate wearing that damn mask. That's the one thing I hate, wearing that mask. But anyway, Vice President Joe Biden's staff is clamoring to get him out of the basement. This guy has been campaigning from the basement of his house in Delaware. And you know what? He needs to get out there because, number one, I think he's going to weather the storm with this Tara Reid scandal, so to speak. The Democrats are rallying around him, which is good for him. But she's being also heard. I mean, she has an opportunity to talk to a lot of people. She's doing a lot of media right now. She's getting her story out there. So I'm of the opinion that, that Uncle Joe is going to survive. Now, I don't know if the president can survive by making these outrageous comments about grabbing somebody in the kitty cat, and that's what we say on here. It's funky politics, but we also like to keep a clean show, by the way. So if he can get away with saying grabbing folks in the kitty cat, I would think that this vice presidential candidate may be able to survive this allegation that he is vehemently he's doing it with great passion, denying that he did this. He's denying that he did it. But anyway, we'll see what happens, right? But guess what? Mike Flynn has just been shown some love. General Flynn, that's right, folks, the one who pleaded guilty in federal court before Judge Emmett Sullivan in the federal district court in D.C. He pled guilty and he said he was going to cooperate. And then, of course, he changed his mind. Well, guess what? He just got a Christmas gift early. The president, by tweeting his displeasure with the Justice Department and also the FBI, saying that he thought it was a sham job, it was a hoax. I didn't say they rear-ended this guy, but anyway, they ramrodded this guy. That's another bad term. But anyway, in other words, they're saying that, or at least the president and the attorney general agreed, and so they've decided to vacate or just back away from the sentence. Well, back away from the guilty plea. I don't know how you do that. Judge Emmett Sullivan will have more to say about that, I'm pretty sure. But hey, who knows? This stuff gets goofier by the day. It gets completely goofier by the day. Anything that comes out of D.C. right now, man, I tell you, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Well, you know what? Just recently, we lost some pretty significant people from the music world. And I want to give shouts out to Andre Harrell, who, of course, a music, not only a music producer, promoter, once member of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde rap duo. The brother was deep. The brother succumbed. Of course, they don't know what it is right now, but he succumbed several days ago. And we want to send some shouts out and prayers out to the family. This brother made a difference in the lives of many of us in the African American community with music. He did his thing, and then he was also a great philanthropist as well. Also, Sister Betty Wright, she lost her life as well too. Boy, I tell you, ain't nothing like a Betty Wright song. Boy, make you want to go take a shower after you listen to her singing. But she's gone on now to a better place as well. And you cannot forget, you got to mention this guy. His name is Richard Penniman. You say, who is Richard Penniman? Guy out of Macon, Georgia, who sang Tutti Frutti. That's right, folks. None other than Little Richard. Little Richard answered the call not long ago, and the brother has accepted his crown. He put down the piano, stopped playing the piano, and he put down the musical instruments, and now he's helping lead the band in heaven. So hats off to his family as well. He did a great service to our community and to his people. Right, Little Richard and so forth. But I tell you what, man, music won't be the same without these folks right here leaving us, right? But anyway, getting away from all of that, let's talk about today's show. We have on today's show Kimberly Hairston-Hicks, founder and CEO of Good Beauty Skincare, a company that has launched products formulated for the melanin-enriched skin, which, I mean, I think she's talking about me, but we'll find out if she's talking about my skin. But I don't know. I think we are talking about skin. But prior to that, she served as chief marketing officer for a multicultural hair care portfolio supported by Cateron company. She's done work for Unilever, Coty, L'Oreal, and of course Coca-Cola company. Sisters Deep. She's a breath of fresh air in our community, in our country, and she's out there and she's talking skin to me, which I really need to talk about this. My skin is really dry. But anyway, we'll be right back with more Kimberly Hairston-Hicks right here on Funky Politics. Give us just a second. And we are back with my very special guest, Kimberly Hairston-Hicks. How are you? Welcome to Funky Politics, young lady.
Thank you, DC. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You know what? I tell you, good beauty.
Good beauty.
Good beauty.
Yes.
I saw how it was spelled. I'm like, wait a minute. I could see that. But anyway, good beauty, skincare. Let's talk about your walk. Let's talk about how you got to your journey, how you got to good beauty. I mean, you didn't just wake up one day and became the CEO of this wonderful company, talking about and helping not only Black women but also some Black men as well, right? Or people of melanin challenged skin. I'm so assuming at some point, right?
Yes.
How did we get there?
Not necessarily challenged, just melanin enriched. But I actually have spent about 15 years in the beauty industry. And I've had the privilege of working for some of the titans in the beauty industry like L'Oreal, Coty, and Unilever. But unfortunately, there is an ugly side of beauty. And through my journey, I discovered that people of color, specifically Black women, were not the priority when it came to research, development, and focused on what our needs were. And our needs are slightly different from our Caucasian counterparts. And if nothing else, even if our needs weren't different, we actually spend the majority of all the investment in beauty. I mean, we outspend our Caucasian counterparts 3-1, and yet we're very small on the totem pole when it comes to let's think about her needs or his needs, and that's not being done. And so when I had the opportunity to, after my last role, we sold the company. I had an opportunity to kind of step back and think about what was really next for me, and through the help and support of my husband, I was able to say, let me go after my dream. And that was to develop a skincare line specifically for Black women. But not only just develop a skincare line from a product perspective, but also give back to our community. So that was really important to me, about educating Black women about our skin, and then making sure that we had the resources and the tools to give back. And we give back $1 back for every product that we sell back to a not-for-profit that supports young Black women and educating young Black women.
Well, and I want to stay right there when you talk about Black women and women in general. I mean, you came out of corporate America and you started your own thing. And we like to talk about diversity, inclusion, and equity, Kimberly. But when you were there, and of course you were in corporate America before this new Me Too movement, of course, came along, but is it fair to say that corporate America was really doing a pretty good job of promoting African-American women? Well, we know that ain't the truth, but they'll say they were doing it. But how difficult as a woman of color was it for you to manage those roles of being that strong Black woman, but also having to pretty much say in some corporate meetings, I have to kind of bite my tongue and maybe not say anything today?
Unfortunately, that was probably my experience, that while there were positions where women of color and Black women were in leadership position, it really was maybe one against a sea of, 50. And when you have that one, it is hard for that person. I've had wonderful mentors, so that were presidents of divisions that happened to be Black. One of them was Candace Matthews, and she was the president of one of the divisions at L'Oreal for Saul Sheen Carson. But even in that, I mean, she reached to probably one of the highest levels in the company, but her voice was still not heard, in my opinion. And then it was very difficult to continue to pull up those that were coming behind her. And I would, say even after this Me Too movement, that still exists. I mean, there are only 4 Black CEOs for Fortune 500 companies in the world. I mean, there's probably four, and maybe a few Black females that are CEOs. I know that Ursula Burns, we always like to talk about her. And,
Sure.
The woman recently that got promoted now to FedEx, Ramona Hood, she's now the CEO of FedEx. Those
Sure.
are great things, but I don't think the playing field will ever be equal until we could stop saying the first.
Wow.
The first. She's the first. She's the first.
Yes.
Because a lot of times it may be the first and the only, and that's really where it's disappointing. And Me Too might have helped with maybe shining a light on the inequities,
Mhm.
but change doesn't just come overnight. But I don't know if the leaders are really willing and committed to changing and having women sit at the forefront, specifically Black women.
And you want let's stay there with the beauty and cosmetics piece.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've not always listened to or had I guess market research in our favor, right? So how do you ignore 82% of Black women who say it's important, that part of their life is important? 52% of them have some type of skin regimen. How do you ignore that type of market segment?
Well, I think they ignore us just like they ignore us throughout society, right?
You have it.
And we don't want to go. I mean, we just had, a situation in Georgia recently where the young
Sure,
man was, shot. And
sure.
I mean, here's what I want for us to understand. Change won't happen until we decide that it's important for them to change. Meaning, if you're supporting businesses, they should be supporting you. And if they're not, spend your dollar elsewhere. That Black dollar stays in our community, less than a couple of hours. In other communities, their dollar changes
Mm,
hands constantly. And we have to stop that. I was just reading an article recently, and they said we should make Black Friday every Friday, where we
mhm.
ask Black people to support Black owned businesses, period. And I think if that movement could start where we invested into our communities. So recently with COVID, I've been really mindful of where I spend my dollar. I need to
Sure.
make sure that, that this is someone that helps my community. And it really is something that we have to change. I'm no longer waiting for someone else to change it for me. It's time for us to make a stand.
And I think you're right. Turning that dial over in our communities would help. I mean, of course, there's some off the books type of businesses going on in our community where the dollar does stay. But now we're talking about, we ain't gonna talk about none. I do not go there. I don't
Oh
do
my
that.
gosh.
Only my
Okay.
producer does. But anyway, no, no. So seriously, but when you talk about like the hairstylists, you talk about the barbershops.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get into cosmetics, but when you talk about a hair care industry at
Yeah.
$2.5 billion, that data doesn't lie. It does not lie. How does the L'Oreal's and how does some of the Unilevers not say, wait a minute, this is a definite market segment that we have got to get involved in, and we've got to start marketing? Because I remember back in the day where you had the Ebony magazine, you had Essence,
Uh,
all of that stuff was us. It was the
yeah.
hair care products, it was a skin, it was all of this stuff. Now you got the Mac Cosmetics, what I think were designed for our sisters because they really participate with Mac, right? But
Yeah.
now, what about the other ones that just said, we're good. I got this good
Well,
little market over here, though, Kim.
L'Oreal owns several multicultural brands,
Okay.
including a brand that I worked on many moons ago, like Dark and Lovely, that was
Oh,
purchased
wow.
by Soft Sheen many moons ago. They just purchased Carol's Daughter, an incredible brand. So I think their strategy is to but acquire someone that has already supported the community and
Mm,
try to leverage that. Even Unilever owns Shea Moisture, so they acquire our brands, and that's maybe their way of investing. But I think that more needs to be done in the sense of if outspend our Caucasian counterparts. We are the drivers of this overall beauty industry.
mm,
And we have not been the priority. So for me, with good beauty, while I'm a small owned business, my approach was first understand what she needed and develop products that I believe she did based on the feedback, but then go out and test them. And we did home studies where the products went to consumers and they test the products. They did a 30-day, taking the picture, seeing the results. And we went from there. And we didn't have all successes. Some of the products didn't work. And I had to start back again at the drawing board with the chemist. So, but the results are amazing now. We have 3 products that are a vitamin C line, a cleanser, a serum, and a moisturizer, SPF 50, which, not to bring this up again, but Black women, we didn't even know, we weren't even educated enough to know that we needed to protect our skin from the sun every day. Only time we use an SPF, most of us, 60% of us, was when we were on vacation with our girlfriends or our families and, or we're going to the beach. No, we need an SPF 30 or above every day and to protect our skin.
And before I go there, well, let me stay right there.
Okay.
So is there any room in this SPF 30 and 50? What about if a Black woman needs it? Doesn't typically a Black man need it as well?
Absolutely. Let me say this: men and women and children. So, my husband uses all of the products that we developed. And my thought process is that if there's a female in the house, if you have a sister, a girlfriend, a friend, she most likely is helping you with your beauty needs. But Good Beauty is definitely for men and women, but we specifically are talking to women. But the products, you can use them.
So the Dark and Lovely, the Soft Sheen, these are names I grew up with, and I'm 53, and I'm not that. I think it is 53, not 83. Yeah, 53. So I grew up with those names by the Essence, by the Jet magazines, by the Ebony. So do we own any of these brands anymore? I mean, is there any? You own yours now.
Yes. So the legacy brands, the historical brands that started when John Johnson, of course, Fashion Fair, all those brands, some of them still exist, but I will shout out Luster's products.
Luster.
Yes. Luster's is still Black owned in Chicago, and
shout out, brother.
still, they're doing an amazing job, specifically in hair care. So they're out there. Unfortunately, some of the other ones are not, because of getting acquired by bigger businesses and bigger companies, and then kind of losing their way. When I worked in hair care, the last role I had was for on Dr. Miracles and the Johnson's products, which included Soft Sheen. They had S-Curl and all these different brands that Johnson's products own. And I will say Ultra Sheen and those brands were great, but they were purchased by an equity company and then now sold to another company. So once it changes hands so many times, it loses some of its, I will say, Blackness, lack of another better word.
Fair. And this is funky politics. You can use the term Black on here.
I love Black.
I love Black. Look at me. I'm darker.
There you go.
I like this color.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. And we celebrate it through Good Beauty every day. And we celebrate women of all shades in our community. So you don't have to be one look to be highlighted. But I think that there's a need. I think that's the reason so many of us, the small beauty founders, are deciding to get out there and say, listen, you've taken our brand, you've usurped the specialness of that. So let's now create our version of what we think we need. And that's why I think some of the small brands are doing very well because of that.
Good. Shout out to Good Beauty. Shout out to Luster.
That's Luster's products in Chicago.
COVID-19. So COVID-19, you're CEO of a company.
Yes.
This new normal we're in right now. How does Good Beauty adjust to COVID-19 in terms of market demand? Are you guys, in terms of revenue, you up, you down right now? Are you getting by? Because of course, not a lot of people. Well, now we're starting to go back now a little bit more now because a lot of states have opened up. But over the last 60 days, most folks were at home.
Yeah. Well, my business is a little different because I'm an e-commerce business to begin with. And I do a couple of shops. We're in a couple of boutique stores, but thank goodness. And my consumers have really been supporting me during this
Wow.
time. And our revenue is up, actually.
Praise the Lord
And
for that.
thank
Yes.
you, Jesus, I can do the praise dance.
Yeah.
But I think I had to make a shift. I felt because I am in my own community. I'm in and of my community. So I didn't have the need to sell. I didn't want to go, oh, buy this, buy that, buy this,
Yeah.
buy that. I really wanted to insert kind of health and wellness and how we could support women during this time, self-care Sundays, things that we could do to
Oh, wow.
maintain our wellness and, who we are as women. And, our brand is based in that, we believe in, we're Christians, we're spiritual, we are grounded. Like I'm not apologizing that I'm Black, and I'm not apologizing that I'm a Christian and that
Yeah.
I have faith. So I understand during these times, that's where we have to dig deep and make sure we take care of one another. So it went from a selling message to really a supporting message fully. And that did not hurt the business, which I'm very pleased with. And now, Mother's Day just happened. I did like a
Oh,
sale, a
wow.
coupon, and women responded. I gave some freebies away and they responded well to that. So I'm blessed and thankful. And,
Sure.
I make sure that we are I'm staying connected. I do Instagram lives
Yeah.
and things like that to
Yeah.
help support our community.
I think that's very important as a small Black business owner or as a large Black business owner, is that we stay connected to our people, because we are loyal. I mean, I know some people that have had the same beautician for 25 years. I'm
Oh,
like,
yes.
I mean, and so that's possible. It's the same barber. Well, now my hair ain't what it used to be, but now when I used to go and I had an afro, I came out one day and I had, anyway. So we are brand loyal, and we are
Yeah.
loyal to those folks who we believe are doing us right. So you must be doing some great work out there.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, the service industry, those beauticians, those barbers, now they are hurting
Yeah, no, no,
because you have to touch, right?
that's right. That's
I
right.
have the luxury of sending product out and I don't ever have to touch anyone. But I know for me, I haven't had a good brow wax and,
Oh,
doing
yeah,
my own makeup today was like,
sure.
okay, wait a minute, So
Yeah,
those people I really do feel for. But the way we can still support those service industry people, our beauticians, our barbers, is buy gift cards, right?
yes,
If they
yes,
offer that, I know that one of the people that are been in my my beauty circle are saying, hey, if you could buy a gift card to
yeah,
support me
yeah,
when we're open,
yes.
come
That would
back.
help. That would help.
And that, and because we take for granted, of course, those people that make us feel beautiful, look beautiful. But they need us right now. And a way to help them could
Mm.
be, definitely reach out to them and see if there's something that they need, and see if they offer those gift cards and give them out. Buy some if you can, and give them out to keep those businesses going.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
want to. I want to stay right there in the business sector.
sure.
A 2018 study was out there and said African American business owners represent about 20%. Especially, and of all of that, you have women-owned businesses. How that's a 20%. How do we get more women like you thinking, I'm gonna step out on faith? I've had enough of corporate. I've had enough of hitting the clock. And I know what I'm doing now at home or online is really working well. What was the impetus to tell you that this is the right time? So, what advice could you give to young ladies or women or men or young men who said this may be the right time for you to step out there on faith and say, look, go ahead, hang your shingle out. Let's see what happens.
Well, I will say kind of two things. The first one was I definitely stepped down on faith, but I had some backing,
Hmm.
meaning I had support of a husband that was willing to say, go out to deal with
Hmm.
your dreams and don't worry about the mortgage.
Hmm.
And that is not always our situation. So let me be mindful of that first. So I've been wanting to start my business for, oh gosh, probably 6, 7 years prior to even meeting my husband, right? And I
Hmm.
didn't do it because I was dependent on my income, right? I had a house that I had to pay for, so I did not do it. But what I wish I would have done, and what I would tell those who maybe not have that support system, would be, if there's something that you're passionate about, start that side hustle. You
Yes.
think you don't have time, you do have the time. Start now, especially now, right? You're in that house, you're locked in
Yes.
with your family or with whomever. Start that side hustle now, because that really is what's going to drive you in the future. And having a job is great and working in corporate is great,
Sure.
but if it's not your passion, and that's what you have to really, really consider. The second thing was, I didn't just go out without having some background, some knowledge. I've worked in beauty for 15 plus years,
Mm.
and I understood the industry. So it was something that I did have knowledge about, that was also passionate about, that I just didn't start out there. And even today, we are growing organically. And it's on my terms. I'm not going
Sure.
out there asking for investors at this moment, because I want to make sure I keep this brand true to what
Mm.
it's supposed to be. But I will definitely tell. I mean, we all have something, a gift that
Yes.
we owe to the
Yes.
world,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it is a shame if you sit on it and if
Mm.
you don't bring light to it, because these are the times. Madam C.J. Walker became, a millionaire during one of the greatest depressions of our time then. So there are people that are going to come out of this millionaires, right? And with big opportunities, not only for themselves, but to help our community. And so if you are one of these people listening, I will say, don't sit on that. Let that dream come to life, and it could change not only your life, but really our community. And we need you. We need
Mm.
the gifts from our community.
Yes.
We
Shout
do.
that out. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Shout that thing out. Kim, before we get out of here,
Okay.
I want to know, how can our listeners, our viewers, get to Get Beauty? How can they? Is it an online whatever it is?
Yeah.
Let's let them know how they can have that skincare guru that you are. How they can have the best products shipped to them, and if we can pay the price to these folks at these big box stores, then certainly we can pay the same price to you, and let's not nickel and dime our folks, because that's how we are sometimes. How can they
Yeah.
get to Good Beauty?
So you could follow me, of course, on Instagram at Good Beauty, and it's spelled GOODBEAUTE. On Instagram, Facebook, and it's goodbeauty.com. So again, GOODBEAUTE.com. We have a full working website, YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook. So we're on all the social media platforms and that you can find. And definitely, we are here to support you, our community. We give back, as I mentioned, $1 for every product that we sell to a not-for-profit that supports educating a young Black woman through scholarships and programs, because that is the commitment. That is my
Wow.
commitment, to make our world better.
Wow. I had to write something down. You said we all have a gift we owe the world.
Yes, we
We
do.
all, I want that to be my mantra for the week, today, the month, the year. We all have a gift, and you're absolutely right that we owe the world. We need to unveil that gift, and I think you've
Oh,
unveiled
yeah.
it here for us today.
Oh,
Kim,
good.
thank you so much for being with us here today on Funky Politics. I
Uh,
feel better. I don't feel as funky today. I don't feel as funky because you've told me about the skincare. Now I need to go ahead and order some now, because Lord, I got
Good
this.
beauty.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, Good Beauty. I will make
It'll help
sure.
that beard and moisturize that
Is that
beard.
right?
You'll have
But
that good beauty glow.
but will it turn it back black? That's what I'm looking for. Will it turn it
Now,
back?
I am not about miracles.
Lord have mercy. Jesus, let me get this woman out here. Lord, thank you so much for being with us here on Funky
Oh,
Politics. We've had a great time with you. Please do
yes,
come back again. All
I
right.
will. Anytime you need me.
Thank you, Kimberly. Stay well. All right.
You too. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. We'll be right back with just another second. But you know what? I tell you what, I don't want to come back. I'm done for the day. Let me tell y'all right now. Kimberly Hairston-Hicks is the truth. Good Beauty is the truth, folks. Go out there online, look them up. Let's do business with her. She's a well known entity out there. She comes out of corporate America. She followed her dream. She devised this plan to say, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And she put her love into it. And I think we owe her that much as a part of this community. It's COVID-19 still going on, but we can still support our own. And I want to see her thing blow up from the flow up. We don't want her to sell it now. She can't sell it because we want to make sure that when we look out there, when it comes to the L'Oreals, we want to see good beauty out there as being at the very top over L'Oreal. We're talking about major market share, right? We can do this. I think we can all do this as believers in Christ and also as believers in ourselves and helping one another to strive to get to another level in life, right? I tell you what, right here on Funky Politics, where we like to always keep it real, we like to keep it right, and we always like to keep it funky. I want to make sure that as we develop these new plans around the country and opening up our states, stay safe. Stay safe. I've been to a restaurant, and I will say that they did have the tables parsed out so you couldn't sit next to anybody and so forth. There was a lot of social distancing. The wait staff had the masks on and so forth. I felt pretty good about it. I hadn't been back to one again, but I may. So I'm venturing out a little bit more. We do have to get back into regular society. We do have to get back into trying to make sure that our economy picks back up, but we can do it in measured phases. Let's not let our national leader or our state leaders tell us that it's time now to go back full force, because it's not. But in measured terms, go out and start doing some things. I'm not going to say them all, but there may be a store you need to go into to get something to make you feel a little bit better. Okay, do that. We'll see you right here next time on Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. I am out of here.